Hey everybody, Mr. Davis here. As we're doing these graffiti names projects, I was just trying to think of different things that we can add to your graffiti names. And one thing that I thought about adding is a monogram. And a monogram traditionally is two or more letters that are put together in a more interesting way to form a whole new composition. Remember, composition being the way you arrange your elements, your forms that you have in art to make it more pleasing or interesting to the eye. For instance, this is the logo for Louis Vuitton, LV. They could have just had the straight L and a V, but that wouldn't be very interesting. So what they did is they took the angle of this V right here, made the L a little bit slanted to match that angle, and it gives a more interesting logo. There's some other logos here. Sometimes monograms are used in weddings or anything to combine the wedding names like that. So that could be pretty cool as well. Sometimes they just, make the letters a little bit more fancy and curl it all up and everything like that. Sometimes they put them in different shapes like that. That could be pretty simple. They'll flip letters sometimes just to make it flow a little bit better. The Under Armour logo, really pretty cool. Looks like an X, but really it's a U and then an A. And then they use the bottom of the U to make that horizontal line of the A. So that's a really cool logo. Lots of logos have done lots of things to take letters and to rearrange them into a more interesting way. So that is a monogram. So you can make your own monogram, and I'm going to teach you some tips here. What I'm going to do is I have this pretty cool wheel that I can spin and I'm going to get 3 random letters. Okay. And as we get the letters, I'll pause a little bit. I'll do some sketching as I want you to do to try to figure out different ways to incorporate your letter. So I got an O right here. Perfect. Let's spin it again. So I'll pause the video for you as I'm sketching it out. Then I'll come back. I'll show you some of my sketches that I have. And I have an A, O, and A. And then let's get another letter here. And then as you see my sketches, I'll show you some different tips and tricks on how to incorporate all of those. I, O, A, I. Okay. All vowels here. So say this is somebody's name. And I'm going to say that the person's name begins with an O, because whatever letter is your most important letter, usually it's going to be your first name, or if you want to emphasize your last name, whatever you want the most important letter to be, that's the one that you should draw first. Okay. So I'm going to just do some sketches here and try to figure out how to incorporate these O's and this O and A and I, and then we'll get to it like that. Okay. What I came up with was this very first one. I kind of liked for a while because it's almost like, looks like to me like a globe or something on a pedestal or something like that. But then once I really started going, I came up with this one because there's your O, there's your A, and there's your I right on top of there. So that gives lots of balance, which is a nice thing to have in your art. Okay, so you don't want some of these others were kind of leaning off to the side. That's a little heavier on the right side here. This is lots of balance, but not really there. But I kind of like this one the best. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to revamp this one and make it so I can make that real clean and kind of tag that easy. So there we go. Or if I wanted to do it graffiti style, like how I taught you how to do your... Okay, then you just would erase the skeleton from there if you really wanted to take your time on it. But the kind of whole purpose of it being a tag is so you can draw it real quick. So, like that. Okay. So we got the OAI out of the way. Now let's spin to get another 3 letters. C, okay? Sometimes letters are easier, the symmetrical letters that are the same on both sides, easy. Some are more difficult, like a C, like a P. So this one may be a little bit more challenging, but we can make it work. And an I. Okay, so CPI. Let's see here, do some sketching here. Yeah, I like that one a lot. Nice and symmetrical, easy. You can make it nice and you can take your time at it very much if you want to. And make it real clean if you like. Again, erase those sketch marks. You can make this space as big or as small as you want. But C, P, I. Or you can make it a little looser, like if you really were tagging a wall or something like that, which I don't expect you to do. You know, real nice and easy. So C, P, I. Okay, C, P, I. All right, give me another one. Okay, let's make another monogram with 3 new letters here. Let's spin it. I think you're kind of getting an idea. It's just really a lot of different ways that you can do it. A lot of sketching, a lot of practice. Wise, you can make all kinds of different ways. So that could be an easy one. Sometimes the more symmetrical, like I said, are easier, but sometimes when you could have different options of how to make your letter, that could be good too. So K, K-Y, shout out Kentucky. And then A, so K-A-Y or K-Y-A. See, that's a real quicker one right there. My signature is like that, but what you can do is K-Y, and then that's an A down there if you want. So that's a real quick K-Y-A right there. Sometimes what you can have is a more polished design, like this was that C-P-I, C-P-I, real nice and clean, symmetrical. You can have the OAI. Remember, we came up with this almost peace sign or Mercedes looking logo. Or you can have a quicker KYA where you could just do things super quick. So K, that's a KYA. We got the OAI. Then we got the CPI. Okay, so hopefully this gives you a little bit inspiration with how to do some monograms of your own. Remember, when you are doing your letters, sometimes the letter is already there. You just have to find it. Remember? So that's what I kind of did with the CPI. When I was doing a C and then I was trying to do the P, the I is already there. So that really counts. So it could have been something like that. But again, that looked like the more letter G. So you just have to draw things out, sketch it out. When you come up with your design, that's how you'll be able to do it quick at a glance. So that is the OAI, the CPI. I can do that pretty quick now. KYA. You can do real quick as well. Okay. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Hopefully it was good for you and you learned a little something. Have a good day. Bye.